Well, that's nice.
Hello, fermented folks.
We have P. Jelly Clark.
All Makatsu.
We have Travis Baldry.
Today we have a really special guest, 𝘍𝘭𝘦𝘮𝘍𝘪 𝘍𝘭𝘦𝘮𝘍𝘪.
Are you reeling it in and defending clowns?
I am. Earth doesn't even exist in Battlestar Galactica.
This show me heartburn. I was like, I loves it, I hates it.
It's called All Fluff.
Oh!
If you didn't know how I actually feel about The Mandalorian,
Don't worry,
this is it right here.
Hello, fermented folks, and welcome to another episode of our little show, Fermented Fiction, the place where we drink beer and other things, sometimes just water, honestly, and we talk about books, movies, and all that jazz with amazing creators. Today we have Sienna Beckman. Sienna, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
And we're going to have Sienna introduce herself in a little bit. But before we do that, we always like to start with a little update from us hooligans that run this show. So, Jeremy, there's two of us right now. What do you got going on in your life right now?
Well, last week was Thanksgiving, and regular viewers of the show, which I guess is Philip Ridgers. Hi, Philip Ridgers. How's it going? But regular viewers will know that I was volunteered to make 3 different pies for Thanksgiving, and I had a goal to come home with no leftover pie because the pie was so good. That being said, I kind of overshot the goal. The pie was too good. They asked me to make another one. And so I did end up coming home with 3 slices of pie. So,
I feel like that's
what are you going to do? Yeah, I think I won in a different way.
Yeah.
Still a win. For sure, still a win.
Yeah.
I have... Sorry, I don't know. I don't want to cut the pie story off. It's a great story.
That's all the story. We got there.
All the story. I had 2 things I could have shared today. One of them kind of benign, and the other one actually kind of cool. So I'm just going to share them both because that's how we roll. The benign one is it is candy cane Hershey's season, and that's the stuff. Candy cane Hershey's, in my opinion, is the greatest candy ever made. I don't know what they do. The peppermint white chocolate distribution is like pure perfection. Those things are crack cocaine to me, and I'm so excited. The next unbenign thing, I think, cool little moment of like, sometimes things work out, happened to me. And it was, I slid on the ice just a little bit coming out of a parking lot. I was like pulling out of a spot, and I hit a patch of ice in my car, like slid, and it hit a guy's taillight outside of Mass on Sunday. Like, broke his taillight and kind of hurt his bumper a little bit. And so I sat there for an hour because he was like apparently in a meeting after church, waiting for him. I was going to leave a note, but I was like, it doesn't feel right. So I waited, and he came out, and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. Here's my phone number. Here's my insurance. I didn't mean to. And he was like, well, thank you so much for waiting. He texted me today. Turns out his car had a recall on the tail light, the exact year of Subaru he had.
No.
And he got to just get it completely replaced for free without ever filing a claim. So he texted me today and was like, we're all good. And I was like, awesome. So
yeah.
That was pretty cool. That made my day. I thought I was going to have to shell out maybe $1,000 or so, but instead he got a new taillight and I don't have to pay any money. So
exactly. Put that back in your pocket.
Yeah.
Put that back in your pocket. On that positive note, Sienna Beckman, could you please tell our audience who you are, why you're on our show, maybe anything you got going on in your life that's super interesting?
Heck yeah. What's up? I'm Sienna. I co-founded a film and TV company called Emergence Films. My business partner is named Rachel Noel James, and she's going to be on the show in January, I think. So that'll be fun. I'm a producer. I produce just about anything. We added live immersive theater to our roster this year, which was super fun, but we've done films, TV, documentaries. We're working on 2 vertical series right now. We've got a couple of audio series in development, like scripted audio, pretty much everything across the board. But the main goal of the company is to support female identifying filmmakers and historically underrepresented voices. So that's really cool. I'm relatively new to Seattle. I've been in the area a bunch of times because Rachel lives on Bainbridge Island, but the last 7 years I've been living in London, which was so cool, and I miss it a lot. Hoping to continue to like split my time between the 2 places because I also love Washington. Who knew? It's so beautiful, and the summers are so great. I was like, what is this nonsense? 80 degrees and sunny the whole time. Why don't we talk about that? It was amazing. So yeah, a little bit about myself. I love stories. I really like just interesting, unique, weird, fun, like quirky stories. And I love people kind of just like being willing to just like rip themselves open and be like, here's me. I think it's so generous and so wild that people have the like desire to do that. And I think like what I've found in my life as a producer is that I get to like bear witness to that in a really cool way and to support it and to be like, yeah, this is weird, but let's do it. And that's really fun. That is my favorite thing to do. I love cats. I love the outside. I am a serial hobbyist, so I've tried a lot of different things for a short amount of time. The current ones are aerial yoga, which is so fun. It's like a cross between like aerial silks, but it's a hammock, so you can like sit in it. You don't have to like hold yourself the whole time, so it's easier because I have very little upper body strength, which is what I'm working on. That's really fun. I've been doing that for a little while. I've just started to learn how to roller skate. What? Apparently that's a thing too now that grown-ups do. I was like, I haven't been on skates since I was probably 12. And here we are again. And now my Instagram feed is just flooded with beautiful Black women doing amazing like roller skating tricks. And I'm like, sure, let's go. I think that's it for now. Yeah.
That is fantastic. The 80s are coming back in a lot of ways, and roller skating.
What I'm wearing, like,
exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
It's coming back.
I love it. Well, thank you, Sienna, for coming on the show again, and your production company sounds amazing. We are talking about a movie that we aren't sure if is amazing, because on this show we don't reveal our opinions until after we have a knockdown, drag-out debate. This movie is definitely, though, I think you could call a cult classic. Although I don't know if it's cult because I don't know if it was successful. I'll look that up in a second.
We may never know.
The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis. And I feel terrible that I'm forgetting the main actress's name.
Mila Jovovich.
Mila Jovovich. Yeah, I love her. And my favorite member of this cast is Gary Oldman. Being something. He's being a lot.
Oh, he's being something, all right.
I can't believe I'm forgetting the other name. The
Ian Holm?
Chris Rock.
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker.
Yeah, Chris Tucker. In one of his most
iconic,
flamboyant and iconic roles. Flamboyant in the sense of the word that he's very large in this movie. So that's what we're talking about. Fifth Element is, Jeremy, could you give us a little summary of this here film?
Yes. Well, you see, long ago, something came and tried to destroy the earth, and we thought, hey, we can't have that. So we got a bunch of rocks together, you gather them around, they represent the 4 elements, we bring them together with the 5th element, it'll shoo away the darkness for another some thousands of years. Guess what? That's coming again real quick. So we got to gather up them rocks. We got to put the fifth element in the thingy, and we got to get this on lock. Otherwise, everybody's going down.
I like it. I think that's a perfect summary.
Oh yeah, you've done it.
/no
And-
summary at all.
Well, slash no summary at all. So we will be getting
I liked it though. Very mysterious. Let's leave it
Yeah.
there.
we will be getting into the nitty gritty details of all of this after the debate. The debate today is between our representative for fermented fiction, Jeremy Hudson, and representing everybody else in the world, Sienna Beckman. So, do you have dice on you, Sienna, or do I need to roll for you?
I sadly do not. So please, I entrust you
Okay.
with my juju.
I really hope that doesn't
That's
turn out
very
poorly
bold.
for you. Yeah. All right. Let me roll here.
What did you get?
What'd you get, Jeremy?
I got a 19.
Woo!
Ooh, that's so I literally needed nat 20. Here we go. I got a
Hey, you
7.
can do it, man. Okay,
I
you
got
didn't do it.
I didn't
Okay.
do it. I didn't do it. Which means, Sienna, you are in the attacking corner. You have to tell us why the Fifth Element is a terrible film. Jeremy, you're on the defense, which means you're going to start us off. Let me get our 10-minute timer going here. Multi-slacking.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Are you both ready to debate?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Ready.
All right. We begin in 3, 2, 1. Debate.
All righty. So I'm just gonna start this off and say, hey, in the comments on this stream, Zeb is absolutely right. The Fifth Element is a banger. It's bombastic. It is each and every one of the balls to any and all walls left standing in the vicinity. You have iconic sort of sci-fi and crazy bombastic space opera happening literally at some points, which great, fantastic. You have, of course, Chris Tucker as Ruby Rod being the sexiest man alive and quite possibly the sexiest thing of any kind anywhere. And it all just sort of comes together in a lovely, what was at the time, over-the-top parody of like Die Hard style action films where you getting Bruce Willis to sort of lead it off. How could anybody realistically go wrong with that? Absolutely incredible. But hey, that's all for my opening argument. What do you think, Sienna?
Well, I couldn't disagree more, Jeremy. I'll tell you why. This movie is pure nonsense from start to finish. It doesn't, first of all, coming from me, this film absolutely does not pass the Bechdel test. We have one named female character, and she has the silliest of names. Not that that means anything, but where's everybody else? All they're talking about is like death and destruction and all the other dumb men who are in this. Like, why? Why is that?
Well,
Secondly, she is not wearing clothes most of the time. What? How are we going to say, oh yeah, there's a really cool, strong female lead, and she doesn't speak English? She's like the complete embodiment of the like, I was born yesterday, bimbo Barbie, and I have no idea what, but here I am looking really super hot all the time. So don't worry about it. It's fine. Just let her be. I don't know.
Well, hey, I will say there are 2 named female characters. We have Lilu. We also have Plava Laguna, the opera singer.
Did you look that up? Do they ever?
No, they
speak to each
said
other?
it.
No,
They said it. They don't speak. I don't know if they even interact.
They like
It's-
share a look around the corner.
Oh, right. They shared a look. They had a conversation with their eyes. I wouldn't say that passes the Bechdel test by any stretch, but hey, that's 2 entire names, which for this era of filmmaking is quite possibly incredible.
Boo. And also you have Bruce Willis in his slutty little tank top. Scandalous. How can we even let this happen?
I mean, how could we not? I think it's our responsibility as a society to let that slutty little tank top happen.
All the time.
It's,
It does. It's kind of a reprise. One of the most amazing Bruce Willis movies I actually rewatched just a couple of days ago to celebrate the start of our festive season was Die Hard. And he wears a slutty little tank top in that movie also. So he's just moving up in the world. And this one in The Fifth Element is orange and strappy in the back. Ooh, I love it.
no, right? It's like, what? But also,
Anyway, this movie is terrible. No, moving on. Not good.
We need to kind of shoot and eat the elephant in the room. Now, it's okay for Bruce Willis to have his slutty little tank top, but it's not okay for Lilu to just whip out her titties when she feels like it.
I think she did not make that choice. While as Bruce Willis got dressed in the morning, she just like appeared as a human being all of a sudden. So I think this was thrust upon her as opposed to being like, I'm gonna wear this today for my.
Okay, a few times she did very much make that choice, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I gotta just."
Because nakedness, because yes, girl, do whatever you want. Be the supreme being of all universe. What else is silly about this movie? That all of the like space travel and the like, what's also wonderfully delicious about this movie, which was 1997 was when it was released, and it's so trying to be so far in the future, yet all of the technology is so analog. Like it's a lot of like chunk and the things and everything's moving. So like there's a little bit of the like side, like the CGI, which they did their best for the time, but like so much of it is like so doesn't line up at all.
I don't see what's wrong with a lovely chunky past future technology. It's just imagine a world where we got to space travel before iPhones. It's incredible.
Impossible. I couldn't possibly. But then they get like mail through a chute in a piece of paper.
Yes, physical actual mail.
And then lunch,
I like
lunch
that more than
truck
a text
comes
message.
to your window and you get food from your window and then it flies away into the distance.
I still want that. That sounds rad.
I know. This is definitely not part of my argument, but well, never mind. I'm going to keep it for later then because I don't want to put you on it.
Keep that in your pocket, Yeah, but
sucks about this movie.
But hey, it all comes down to the main point of the film, and the fifth element. It's arguably the most important thing in the universe, which is love, and I feel like that is something that, hey, can't we all get behind in this crazy universe that we got going on?
Love. I love love all day, every day, and he just kind of yes, but like she's so sad because she's like, I've never felt love before. I have a hard time believing that. She's the supreme being. Like, wouldn't people have been like bowing down to her the whole time and being like, girl, you rock, you're the best? But I guess like I'm not really sure about how, because they like make her from like a shred of
I believe the name of that is Born Hot Yesterday.
Thank you.
Yes. Who doesn't love that?
Well, me.
That's it.
But in terms of like the love, like I feel like she would have felt love before as a supreme being. So that doesn't really make sense. And they don't even like talk very much in the movie. They spend like 5 minutes actually conversing. And then he's like, I love you. And I'm like, how? How do you know? You just love her because she's hot.
Well, it's sometimes love is the connections between us, and sometimes you form that connection with actions because of how they speak louder than words. except for words, which themselves are actions, which cannot speak louder than words. But you know, it's
fair.
I don't know, man. It's a thing. It's maybe love at first sight, or love at first kissing an unconscious girl and she pulls a gun on you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
also not great. Come on, Bruce Willis. Get it together. What else sucks about this movie? Was it like Gary Oldman's weird plastic head that he like bleeds from? Doesn't make any sense. Where does that come from? And then
that's from the shadow thing. It makes people bleed out of their foreheads somehow. Like there wasn't even a wound after that. It was wild.
I know. It just kind of appeared. And the poor, like, what is it? The like his like creatures that he keeps on his desk. Abuse.
Yeah,
those
he's just
two
got
little
like this
fluffy elephant thing.
yeah, like a little cube dwelling elephant in the desk. I don't know what that's for. It must be emotional support. You know, it's hard running a business empire where you can lay off 1 million cab drivers to break even.
Yeah. Don't buy it. What else?
And of course, you have to love everything going on with Gary Oldman and his accent in this one. Just absolutely incredible. And dressed like a gumball machine, no less. Whew, I know. Perfect.
How?
Perfection. There's nothing to not love here, as far as I'm concerned. Well, I don't know.
Except for everything that I just said. Oh wait, 5 more seconds. This movie sucks.
It rules. It rules so hard.
All right, everybody. We'll end on this movie sucks and it rules so hard. And we're going to learn what people actually think in just a second. But before we do that, we got a few things we got to get through and enjoy while we do it. Number one being, what is everybody drinking tonight? Jeremy, what did you bring to the Fifth Element discussion?
So what I've done here is I put together a maple old-fashioned, maple syrup, black walnut bitters, and this cask strength Yellowstone bourbon.
Nice.
And it rips. It's fantastic.
Fantastic indeed. I love when things rip, as you say.
Truly.
I brought a 3-pack, but I'm starting with the one that I thought was the most Fifth Element-y in title. Strange Cattle IPA from Map Brewing. Map is in Bozeman, and it's very good. They are located right on this tiny little lake that people call Bozeman Beach. I don't know what the actual name of the lake is. It's not that, but everyone just calls it that, so we stick with it. Sienna, what do you got in that fun mug?
Fun mug. First of all, fun mug. It's independent artist, dynamic symbolism, and it's like trees and fog vibes. So I figured that was very apropos. I currently have in here some contraband because you can't actually buy it in the state of Washington, which is really annoying. But Willie Nelson created Willie's Remedy, which is a THC liquor. It has no alcohol in it, but it's like a shot and is like 7 milligrams of THC or something like that. Sips real good.
All right.
I bet it does.
I've definitely never heard of that, and that sounds very fascinating.
Way to go, Willie.
I know.
Willie
with retirement.
Yeah, Willie would be the one. Willie would be the one. And good on you, Willie. We've got some fermented facts about old Fifth Element. Some of my favorites were that one of my favorite kind of blunders and fact is that the movie takes place in 1914 and the year 2263. But the first scene is in Egypt in 1914, and the Mondashawans arrive at the temple and they tell the priest that in 300 years, when evil returns, so will they. Someone didn't do the math because 1914 plus 300 is not 2263. And we have clear evidence that it's 2263 because Corbin wakes up and there's a yellow ticket above his bed and it has March 18th, 2263. So it's like, okay, I don't know who missed that in the continuity check, but someone, and now it's a fun fact.
They were rounding, Travis.
They were rounding by a lot.
300-ish.
That doesn't exist in 2263. Come on.
There we go. We got rid of math. We didn't need it, so we got rid of math.
We didn't need it.
Speaking of math, the number 5 occurs a lot in this film. There's 5 elements, obviously. Corbin Dallas's license had 5 points left. Zorg stops his bomb with 5 seconds remaining on the timer. The Mangalor's bomb starts with the same 5-second timer. Ruby Rod, near the end of the movie after the alien planet is stopped, says, "There's a bomb going off every 5 minutes." And the doctor at the end says that Lilo and Corbin need 5 more minutes. So, oh, and Ruby Rod's show is at 5 o'clock. So they really leaned into the 5th element. They renamed the original script character was Zaltman Biros, and they went with Corbin Dallas. What do y'all think about that change?
Say the first one again.
Zaltman Biros.
That's
I don't know. Yeah,
that's a mouthful of name.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same ring.
Yeah.
Zaltman. Doesn't roll off the tongue.
Zaltman.
I love, too, the trope that was so common in, like, the 90s and early 2000s of just naming action stars, like, state names or city names.
Yeah.
Like Corbin Dallas, sick.
Cool.
Who's the one Keanu Reeves was in Point Break?
I can't
What was his
remember.
name? Johnny Utah. Johnny Utah. Johnny Utah. And then we got, obviously in book form, you have the weird names of Dune, where you just get Duncan, Idaho, for some reason in the future. Love that. When composer Eric Serra showed soprano Inva Mula, who dubs the voice of the diva, the sheet music for Diva Dance, she reportedly smiled and relayed to him that some of the notes written were not humanly possible to achieve because the human voice cannot change notes that fast. Hence, she performed the notes in isolation one by one as opposed to consecutively singing them all together. They digitized them to fit the music. So there's a few moments.
One little bit, though, right?
Yeah. So there's a few moments when you can hear the differences in vocal tones of the diva's voice, which is kind of cool. Luke Benson wrote the screenplay in high school. I'm not going to say that shows, but just going to leave it right there. What else do we have that I found very interesting? There was one more and I can't find it. In the final scene, a scientist says 1 minute, referring to the length of time before the great evil enters Earth's atmosphere. It actually takes 1 minute and 49 seconds from that moment until the 5th element engages and stops it. That one I found fun because I don't know about y'all, but I've always been the kid who there's like a hold your breath scene in a movie, and I'm like, could I do it? Could I survive? And apparently, no, it was not continuous in here. And I don't know how many of those. Do you think most underwater scenes you could actually do it, or do you think you'd die?
It truly depends, right? I feel like, what is it? I think I read an article, I can't remember which movie it was, that Kate Winslet learned how to hold her breath for like 6 minutes or something insane like that. So
yeah, she broke Tom Cruise's like on-screen record. It was on, him and her were both on Graham Norton together. And I remember watching the interview, and she like said that, and you could tell Tom was like nice about it, but there was like a part of him that was like, damn it. Now I gotta go do 7 minutes. But it was,
how many planes have you jumped out of?
Yeah. How many times have you almost died? But probably a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if Kate Winslet's done some crazy things. She seems like she could have a daredevil streak in her. But that is the trivia I had. Did anyone else have any other stuff? Other than the fact that Luke Benson followed up Leon the Professional with this movie. which to me is just the weirdest like transition. I don't know.
So
I'm
good.
into it.
Yeah, but anyone have any other
Mm-hmm.
facts?
Well, let's see. Well, you'll notice circles as a recurring sort of thing in the film. Generally, those tend to represent like the people who feel like they're in control of a given situation, say, like showing up in circles, like say the guy who has that weird rangefinder on the front of his gun when he's trying to mug Bruce Willis in the beginning. You got the big alien guys, the Mandashiwan guys, just big circular beefy boys trying to save the universe or whatever. And also like all the cops always are going to ask you to put your hands in the circles on the wall. So, circles. They're all over the place. And they're for people who feel like they're in control but really aren't. So that's nice.
I feel like I was just trying to look this up right now, but I'm failing. I feel like you mentioned the like the guy who tries to mug Bruce Willis with the like all the weird like wasn't that I thought it was I was gonna say like, oh, I thought it was Luc Besson, the director, but I don't think it actually is. But it was like it's someone connected with like I can't remember. Never mind. This is a really good fun fact. But I did actually hear another side note is that Luc Besson and Gary Oldman were friends, and Luke asked Gary to be a part of this movie, and Gary was like, sure, like did not read the script at all, and was just like, no problem, I'll do whatever you want, and then gets the opportunity to be this like the wackiest, like most bizarro villain of all time.
I love stories like that. There's a couple. What's the one, what's his name that plays Scotty in the new Star Trek movies? He's also in At World's End. And
yes, that's Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg. I guess like I don't remember. I think it was he like made a deal with J.J. Abrams when J.J. Abrams was like making the new Star Trek. He had already like had this notion that he was going to also reboot Star Wars, and J.J. was like, "Oh no, it was Mission Impossible." He like did Mission Impossible with the knowledge that Star Trek was coming down the pipe, and JJ was like, "Will you do Mission Impossible?" And he's like, "Sure, I don't really care about Mission Impossible, so I'll do it on one condition. I think this is the story. I might be wrong." And it was like, "You have to put me in Star Trek." Like JJ was like, "Okay, fine." Those are so fun though.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
I
have one that's I don't know if it counts as a fun fact because it's just something that happens in the movie, but like it is pretty weird that like Bruce Willis and Gary Oldman never cross paths in the entire movie, even though they're just constantly thwarting one another.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
I never thought about that.
Last little fact here. I was wrong. This movie is not a cult classic. It was It was a success. It had a worldwide box office of 2.8 times its production budget, which is 0.3 over what you need to be considered a successful film. So it had a domestic box office of 63 million, pretty low, but internationally it got $200 million. So the world loved it. America was like lukewarm, but the world was like, this is fantastic. So that's pretty cool. And that will wrap up Fermented Facts, I think. Going once, going twice, sold. I think that's all we got, which means the last thing we have to do before we take a good 5-minute break is talk about what we actually think about the film. So, Sienna, you were on the attacking side, which means you got to kick us off. Were you lying through your teeth, telling the truth, or a mixture of both?
I will definitely say I have some feelings about the representation of women in this movie. yet it's so interesting. I have this disconnect all the time where it's like I watched this when I was a kid and like a high school or teenager or whatever, and loved it. I thought it was so great. I still love this movie. I think it's completely out there, bizarre, but at the same time very wholesome and just feel good, and it's very satisfying. And Bruce Willis is really hot. Mila Jovovich is really hot. Gary Oldman's a weirdo, and I love him. The like mix of the special effects, makeup, and the costumes of the aliens and the operas, like everything. I can go on and on. I love this movie. If I can kind of put my critical thinking brain to the side a little bit, because I mean, I have to make this decision on so many movies. It's like, do I still just like to love it because I loved it before, or do I have to be like, I can't? But I think this one still jumps the hurdle for me.
I love it. And welcome into the show, Clay. We're going to definitely bring you in with your opinion on The Fifth Element. I'm going to jump off, Sienna, and Jeremy, maybe we'll end with you because you were the defender. But I just want to speak to what Sienna said of like, I shouldn't love this movie. Like, if you got a list of movies I hate and like checked off the types, and then you were going to recommend me Fifth Element, I almost guarantee you'd be like, oh, Travis is going to hate this film. And for some weird reason, for Fifth Element, you'd be wrong like once. Because it's just bonkers. It's like the most wild trip of a film. Maybe it's just because I have a love for Gary Oldman that runs so deep. And his like villain turn in this is so strange. And like Chris Tucker, I don't know who told him to just like be as much as he possibly could, but man, does he, and it works. It's like Rush Hour was a lot. This is that times 50. Bruce Willis, a young Bruce Willis, was fun. So yeah, this movie's just a blast, even though technically it's not my style usually. I don't love the kind of loud in your face style. I constantly cite, I think one of the best directors that does that is Ryan Murphy. And I'm not a Ryan Murphy fan. And not because I think he's a bad director, but stylistically, him and I don't mesh with the way he does things, especially horror. And this is kind of a Ryan Murphy style movie. Like, it's in your face, it's loud, it's verbose. And so I thought I would hate it, and I didn't. I had a blast. I strapped in and I had fun. I maybe wouldn't give it like a high score on Letterboxd, but I give it at least a 5 because I'd have to admit this was a good time. Clayton, as you've come in, do you have opinions you would like to immediately share about Fifth Element?
Yeah, I will be completely honest, and I don't know why I thought this was starting at 6. My bad, everybody. So here I am. That I will use this as my personal update as well, since I missed that portion of the show. Sienna, thank you so much for coming on the show. I am excited to have you. You're an awesome person and the exact kind of creator we want to showcase on here. So I just didn't get a chance to say that. Fucking stoked to have you here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Jeremy, Travis, Zeb in the comments, and all the viewers all the time. My personal update. Today was my first time watching this movie.
Nice.
I admit it.
Oh,
yes.
Shut your mouth. Wow.
I know.
A virgin experience. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Travis, what do you think I think about this movie?
I think you hate it.
It seems like the exact kind of movie you hate.
I do. I hate it so much. And I have to be completely honest. Like, I hated this movie. But I get why people like it. It's very. Let me close my door real quick. That's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna sneak up and scare you.
Yeah, he's gonna get the.
It's a very stylistically fun movie. It swings for the fences every opportunity, every pitch it gets. It tries to hit a home run on every single choice. I enjoyed that about it. It's got some Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy vibes that I enjoy. Like it is utterly absurd. It is sci-fantasy with no holds barred, like not even pretending it's trying to be a hard sci-fi. And I do applaud it for that because this was in like the late 90s where I think that hard sci-fi was the only sci-fi that got any kind of big budget production value. And so I like that this one did go sci-fantasy and just kind of said fuck it. And I mean, they got weird with it. Like, I do agree with the Gary Oldman love is real. If you put Gary Oldman on the screen, I'm gonna be like pretty satisfied with the movie most of the time. And I was like, if Gary Oldman was on the movie, I was enjoying the movie just because he is an absolute legend. Can someone tell me how to pronounce Lilo, the actress's name? Is it Mila? Is it Mila?
Mila Jovovich.
Mila.
Jovovich. Yeah. So I have heard her name said, but she's awesome as well. She did a fantastic job. Bruce Willis is Bruce Willis. I like Bruce Willis. So he did a good job as well. It's basically Die Hard in space for him. There was, if I would have had to debate against this movie, I could have definitely tore into his character as he's written quite a bit. I think he's written as like a pretty creepy dude and wasn't like a huge fan of that. Like who just kisses somebody just right away, just right on the mouth, who's like not even conscious or speaking English. What are we doing here? Or, not that English, but like speaking the language you speak. You have no... That was really nasty to me.
Living his
and I'm
best
like,
life in the 90s. What are you talking about? I'm going to stop defending this movie. Yeah.
yeah, I know. We have to judge everything relative to the times, and sure, relative to the times, could have been a lot worse. There was movies doing a lot worse things, but I did think that was relatively creepy. There was a lot of like queer coding going on that wasn't my favorite thing. And then there was, I don't know. It's just like, this movie's way too loud. It's way too boisterous for me. It's not my kind of movie. And it was all over the fucking map. Like in terms of like how they got from place to place, transitions, completely bananas. I was like, we're back in Egypt. Okay, cool. We're just like,
don't you want one of those things where you're on like a long haul flight where they're like, get in this hole and you're going to go to sleep immediately and wake up and you're there.
God, yes.
Perfection.
Yes. They totally had some teleportation going on. And honestly, that doesn't bug me as much. It was just a little confusing as like a first time viewer, and trying to watch it through a critical lens. So I'm being a little harsher on it than I would have usually, probably if I just went in to watch it for enjoyment. If I'd have watched it when I was younger too, I think this movie would have had a lot of nostalgia power on me. But since I'm watching it at age 34, almost 35, has no such power over me. Those old Jedi mind tricks ain't working on this guy. So
good for you.
Those are my thoughts.
And I think
complex. How do I love something that I can't love anymore?
Yeah.
That is hard, right?
I do think the nostalgia works for me a lot on this one, and like there's really been one movie recently I've rewatched that it hasn't, and that's Van Helsing, but that's for a different day. Jeremy,
hey,
you defended it. Were you lying, or do you secretly hate this movie? I'm gonna guess you don't, but maybe I'm wrong.
Jeremy loves this movie.
No, of course I love this movie. What about me? What about all of our time together makes anybody think that I don't love this movie? It's incredible. And I will say, this is probably going to be... I'm probably not going to enjoy having said this, but I think this is the best case scenario for kissing an unconscious person, wherein it happens and then she immediately pulls a gun on you.
This is called consequences.
Like, yes, consequences. And he's like, hey, she was saying this thing. What did it mean? It's like, never without my permission. It's like, yeah, that's what I thought. And then he learns his lesson. Incredible. He doesn't do it again the entire movie. He does
not do it again in the movie. You're correct.
not the whole time. You can play it back. You can watch it. It's just a blasty. It is, as Clay said, 8 ways bananas, beginning to end, but like ramping up the whole time. And I got to watch it with my wife, my favorite person in the world, and she had never seen it before. And by the time it was over, she was like, oh my God, this is the weirdest, this is the most this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And at a different point, she just turned to me. It's just like, the fifth element is love, isn't it? Like, and you know,
You give
there's
a little
so
small
much.
tap.
Yeah, it's great. It's a blasty. Well, at least was at the time an over-the-top parody of Die Hard films, but then Die Hard films got their heads stuck in a bucket and they got weirder than this. So what are you gonna do?
I will forever defend Live Free or Die Hard.
Okay.
That title is the best title ever, and also that movie is pure joy.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But what about A Good Day to Die Hard?
We don't talk about that one. We don't talk about A Good Day. The Russian plot. We don't talk about the Russian plot.
That is the Tokyo Drift of this franchise.
That is 100%.
Tokyo Drift bangs, and I will die on that hill.
Okay. We're getting a little far away. Hey! That's gonna be Sienna when they make the next Die Hard movie, and it's called Die Hard on That Hill. I want you to find a lawyer.
I want mine. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
You heard
Get
it
that
here
copyright.
first, folks.
You heard it here first. Die Hard on That Hill. I also was gonna say this in the fun facts, and maybe Clayton wouldn't approve, but I just have to. I know we don't like to trash people on the show. I'm not going to trash someone, but I do think it's a bit of a shame that Mila Jovovich, right, is married to Paul W.S. Anderson and keeps starring in his really terrible movies. I just want that.
Ooh,
Travis from on the record. Gonna say that. But yeah, thank you everybody for those opinions on The Fifth Element. Sienna, you're struggling a little with it, I feel like, now after we've shared our thoughts. Or do you're like, how do I love this thing but also hate it?
My internal struggle.
Yeah.
I thought you meant I was struggling with my argument. I was like,
no. Oh, not at all. You did fantastic.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely many movies in my life that I grew up loving that I watched again and was like, ooh, no. It's weird. I mean, I think just being part of this generation is very confusing, and not to say millennials have it the worst, but like, it's a roller coaster out there. What am I allowed to like? Like, that sounds like some weird, like Big Brother shit that is like, but it's like a social contract that we've now signed where we're like, we canceled them, so you're not allowed to speak openly about liking this stuff. And I talk about this all the time, the kind of separation of art and artist, and how do we do that? Or is that not allowed? I don't want to use that word, but like, is it possible even? And I don't know is the kind of short answer. I personally, like, my conclusion for myself has been that I can't, and I don't feel comfortable supporting an artist with art that is harmful in any kind of way. If that artist is dead, I have slightly different feelings about it, especially if they're from like way back when, like Picasso. What a shitbag. Art is amazing, and very influential, and we can't put that to the side. So I'm not here to tell anybody how to feel, but like, I personally think it's very hard to separate if there's a shitty person. And not to say that I'm not talking about Luc Besson. Like, I don't know, but like, just in this example of the movie, am I still allowed to like it, even though it's very sexist and not the most 21st century PC? But there's still a lot of stuff out there that's like that. So I don't know.
Thank you for that. I re-asked that before we went to break because I knew that you'd have a really good answer about all those topics, and we can definitely talk about them more maybe after. But I have lots of questions for you about producing and the style of movies that you put on display for everyone to see, because that's a really cool job. And I don't think we've been able to pick anyone's brain about it yet. But I think Clayton is maybe going to send us to 5 minutes.
Yeah, I will. I also missed my chance to do my beer of the week, so I'll just show you that real quick. Because I found this Mind Haze Brain Melter. And I thought it was perfect for this movie because that's what it did to my brain. Absolutely melted it. Yeah, so on that note, everybody, thank you for being here at Fermented Fiction. We're still going to be here in just 5 minutes' time. We'll be right back, so you can enjoy this little video or you can go away. That's up to you. Everybody on the call, go ahead and turn off your video, and that'll kick you off the screen. And then when we come back, just turn your video back on. So that's you, Sienna.
Hello, fermented folks. Welcome to another episode of Fermented Fiction, the first of our new season, and I believe it's season 4. The show where we drink beer and argue with each other and bring on really awesome, creative...
Me to go a little bit outside the box. Once upon a time, apparently, people used to sniff mummy remains, powdered mummy remains, like cocaine. So I think 3 lines of powdered mummy remains, if you can get to that as well. Yeah, that'll get you right to really enjoy the movie, you know?
Dave told us all about making a mead, and I talk shit about Tom Bombadil, as I am wont to do whenever people bring up Lord of the Rings.
You would. You should.
And then that's
everybody
exactly what he
freaking
made.
chill about Tom Bombadil, or I'll get unreasonably upset.
So, in your assessment, what did you think of the everyone kind of paired off, or at least a number of people did, romantically? How'd you feel about that? Did that seem really forced and dumb to you, or?
Tom Bombadil is a merry old fellow with his bright blue jacket and his boots are yellow. Right?
It's our yellow.
Right.
Imagine discovering mummy remains and oh my god, these ancient figures. Dude, what if we crushed this and snorted it, yo? I bet we'd get fucked up.
Let's talk for a moment about the fucking all-star cast in this movie. We have Ewan McGregor slaughtering it the entire time, main character energy, top to bottom. You can't argue with it. Women want him, men want him, everybody wants Ewan McGregor. Okay? If you don't agree with that, you're lying to yourself.
Apparently she had a backstory, but they cut it because she's very hard-nosed at the beginning. And then I will say another pro of this movie is their chemistry is hot. And I feel like if they didn't have that chemistry, I would have been ugh. Because she says at one point, she's like, oh, it's the apocalypse. What are we going to do? Fuck. And he's like, and then later when they are kissing, if they didn't have chemistry and if it was 2 lesser actors, I think it would have been an eye roll, felt cheesy, but you feel their bond.
The Langoliers themselves were originally going to be portrayed by puppets, and I think maybe they should have. Maybe they should have.
Dude, that's amazing.
There's no maybe about that.
And I wish that I could say that there was something greater happening here than the war diary of a broken man living as sort of this White Tower academic with all of his friends sitting inside the Eagle and out drinking beer and pretending Magic Lion Jesus isn't really silly. Because, it is. If we can just all be very honest with each other.
The Lord's work out there. Good job.
I like to think that I am. Most people aren't big enough, but I am. I'm willing to step up. You know?
Yeah. Dedicate that time.
You're
willing to dedicate that time.
The time, the money, all of it.
That was so painful. It's one of those painful things.
Oh, that
I've
was
done in
so
my life.
good. That was so good. We've never been so savagely attacked by any author on their show. It's incredible.
All right.
Oh,
we
yeah.
are back, people, after that great 5-minute break video that I don't know if we've ever on air given Clayton credit for putting that thing together because it's absolutely fantastic. Snaps for Clay. I want to start, I'm sure we'll get into the nitty gritty about the Fifth Element, but especially with one of my questions, but I want to start first with what I kind of left off with of we haven't really had. I think we've maybe had one other producer on the show, maybe two. I hope I'm not forgetting someone, but two other producers on the show, and I always love the opportunity to talk to y'all about your job because it's such a cool job to be able to kind of take these things in, decide like what you're gonna put out there as a product that you're proud of and such, and how you're gonna make it come together. And maybe I'm talking completely wrong about what you actually do. So I'd just love to know, yeah, as like someone who owns their own production company, what's that look like for you? What do you love about it? What's maybe something that if people are thinking about going into it, you would caution as like a really hard part of the job or something that's less pleasant?
That was a lot of questions in a row.
Sorry, I do that.
No, that's great. I'm just not going to remember all of them. I'll start with, I love my job. I love what I do. And I think probably that's like in the like realm of if people are interested or wanting to get into producing or curious about it, try it out. But it's definitely not a job that you can't do if you don't love it. Or at least what I do personally. So we do independent film, independent media. So a lot of that is our own creative development as well. That was not always the case. I've definitely produced things that took that job for the job. And that's fine. You know, in terms of I learned a lot. Every single shoot I'm on, I learn something new. It's a new crew. It's a new group of people. It's a new story. It's, you know, whatever it is. And I love that. I love the kind of novelty of every single project being different, but the like framework is still there of like how to produce something is generally going to be approximately the same with, you know, depending on specifics. So that's really fun for me in the sense that I get to hone my skills and I get to keep working at my experience and my everything, yet every project is different. And that kind of keeps it fresh and keeps it exciting. A lot of what I do is, you know, we have our own company. We have a company here in Washington and we have a company in the UK. So running two businesses, it's a lot. It's a lot of paperwork, which luckily I'm very good at. And luckily so is Rachel. So if you ever want to start a company, get yourself a business partner who is very good at a lot of things. It makes it a lot easier. We work really well together. Rachel's more on the writer, director, actor side of things, though she is also a great producer. And I'm a producer, and I kind of am the little thin golden sphere outside of the production that keeps it all in one place. It doesn't have to be a sphere. Nothing is perfect, but it can be like this amorphous blob that just kind of keeps everyone heading in the general right direction. I ask a lot of questions. I make a lot of spreadsheets. I send a lot of emails. I read a lot of scripts. I meet with a lot of filmmakers. I get to travel a lot, which I love. I get to be on production. That's definitely my favorite part, is being on set, though sadly it's the kind of shortest part of the whole process. But it's so fun. I just love the gathering a team of people who are all putting their creative energy and time and enthusiasm into one story. And everybody's got different skills. Everybody's got different backgrounds and perspectives and all these types of things, but they're all focused on this one thing for this short amount of time. And it's very intense, or sometimes it's a longer amount of time, depending on what the role is. But I love it. I love that kind of creative, collective creativity that results in something at the end. Even though the result is not the goal, she tells herself. The process, the journey, every single part of it is interesting. I won't say all of it is fun, but it's interesting, and it keeps it interesting through the whole process.
Yeah, I think that's something I fell in love with it immediately too, Sienna. When I first got into it, moving out here, I had come off being a college athlete, and so I was like, I didn't even know how much I missed like being on a team like you're talking about, a film set. It's such a awesome unified front. I mean, sure, it's kind of divided into a few different camps for sure, because you have different areas of the crew, people sort of working on different aspects of the final product. But ultimately, all those visions and all those collective goals come together to make one thing, and it's such a cool experience to be a part of. And it's the closest thing I've ever been on to a team environment equivalent to like a college team. Aside from maybe also working in a kitchen can be like that when you like really smash a dinner rush. That's a great feeling. Like when you just like crush a dinner rush. But film feels the same way. Like when you make your day and you don't have, you're like, you get a couple like one take shots in a row, like those and everybody's just clicking. That always feels so good. And it's very similar to being on a college team, I think. So cool. I fell in love with it immediately. That's why I still like have basically chosen to be poor so I can do it.
Same.
Yeah. It's like you said, you have to love film
We're
to
not
do it.
poor. We're just short on points in the screen that tells us the points numbers. We are rich. We are rich.
It's like a video game. It's like a video game.
I'm a side quester. I'm definitely exploring all the caves. I'm not just doing that main timeline like all you other marks out there.
You're playing Breath of the Wild, not Skyrim. Where Breath of the Wild is like the whole game.
Well,
I mean, there's a main quest.
You can totally do that in Skyrim.
I think
that is how I play Skyrim.
That's fair. I know that is. You're fighting the main dragon at level like 70.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's more fun that way. But you make really good points, Sienna. Thank you for your input.
Did I miss any of your questions, Travis?
No, but I have a follow-up one. And that is slightly related to this, but mostly related to your production company. You focus on creators, it seems, in your like mission and goal, and what you mentioned at the beginning of the episode of like elevating voices, very intentional about who you're putting on like up on the pedestal. And I know I've seen, because I learned pretty fast as a very young cinephile that like following actors doesn't really get you consistent product. Following directors and production companies does. And like, I'm wondering, you focus on creators. Is there also kind of a vibe that you look for? Do you do the A24 thing at all where it's like them and neon, you're going to get the same kind of like vibe to all of their films, like a through line of what kind of movie vibe wise you're feeling? And I know that not all production companies do that, but I'm just curious if you do, or if you think that's kind of a cool practice, or I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great question. I would say, oh man, yes and no. I generally don't have, me personally, like I generally don't have like a type of movie or a genre of movie that I'm like, this is it. I think what draws me is when I can feel in a script or in a project or in a finished film, if there was a really clear perspective of what the filmmaker wanted to share. And that is so broad because there's so many things where it's like, you can have this wacky, crazy neon, like girly pop fever dream over here. And I'll be like, whoa, that was a lot. And I loved it. And I never want to watch it again. But I can tell that the filmmaker really just knew exactly what they were going for and executed it well, hopefully. That can also be like some really quiet, beautiful, like introspective slice of life of like a perspective that I don't know anything about. Those are fascinating to me to get a little peek into someone else's life. I love that shit. So yeah, like that's kind of maybe the end is not the spectrum is 4-dimensional, but yeah, I think that's kind of what draws me. So I'm not super into your kind of like straight, like cut and dry, predictable, like that's kind of nice for, you know, if you want to turn your brain off. I know a lot of people really love to do that. I don't consume a lot of content like that. Sometimes it really hits the spot. But yeah, I love to see just kind of a sense of like clarity of vision, I think is really exciting to me.
Have you already talked about your upcoming project, or are you wanting to talk about that publicly? I'm not sure. The one that might be Western?
Western. Oh, yes. That one, oh man, that one's gone on a little bit of a side shelf for now. Hopefully not for too long. It is really cool. So Rachel wrote a witchy Western that's kind of about the main character is a midwife and a healer, but also it's kind of exploring that idea of like feminine power and it's kind of elusive nature of like, is it intuition or is she casting a spell? You will never know. You know, is it, they're a doctor and she knows herbs / is she making a potion? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. Do I care? No. A lot of people do though. So that kind of idea of like feminine power, where does it come from? How people are scared of it and do not know what to do with that. And that very, very quickly turns into violence to this day. So yeah, it was kind of an exploration of that. It's a great script. I'm very excited about it. That's probably going to be like the next one, hopefully.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. I had just heard about it at your screening, so I was wondering if Travis would be excited for it. He loves Westerns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rachel's a great writer. We have her coming up on the show as well. So I'm excited to see all of that come together, but I know you've got other cool things in the works as well.
Always so many things. That's the other thing about being a producer. It's the
lots of things. I hope it's the same. There's a quote. It's not really a quote from anyone. I'm sure I stole it from somewhere, but I don't know where. I say it all the time though.
Is this an original quote coming at us right
now? I
now?
don't think so. I doubt it.
Okay.
But I always say like
certainly not.
Teaching for me is like the perfect level of behind. Like that's what I love about the job is like you're never so behind that it's like drowning you to where you're like I can't even function because I'm buried, but you're never ahead. It's like I always have to be the perfect level of behind, and I'm like happy. I'm just like I got stuff to do, but I can put it off. Like that's I'm sure. I hope producing sometimes is like that because it's a great feeling.
Yeah. Yes. The to-do list never ends. But that's kind of just like life anyway. So
that is. Yeah. All right. I want to turn back to Fifth Element here and bring everybody into that fun movie with all that it is. And the first question is going to address that. And that's specifically as a producer. You kind of alluded to this already with what you look for in movies, but style over substance is always an interesting conversation to me. Because to me in my brain, there's like a line and I can't identify it. This is one of the times I usually am like the objectivist on the show, but this is where I'm like, I can't point to where the line is when like it becomes too stylistic and not substantive enough. Or when it's too much substance and not enough style. Because I'm a sucker for like a really pretentious landscape shot film. But there's a point where it's like, okay, but there's no plot. You're just showing me nature. And like, that's not what I'm here for. So, kind of a general question of like, can y'all maybe think about your lines on that? Maybe give a few examples if you can on the spot. But really just generally, what do you think about that? Just delineation between style and substance, and is there even a measure where it's like too much of one and not enough of the other?
I think it's less of a line and more of a balancing act, if that makes sense. It's more of like a distribution to me, like of the weight given to each thing and the sort of like in-world established reality. And I rave about that all the time, as you guys know, so I won't get too much into it. But basically, like, I think the stories that do that well, that balance that well, are those that establish clear boundaries and establish a very clear tonality that runs through the story consistently. It's like when refs are making a bunch of calls in a game and you're like, it's fine as long as it's consistent. This is the same thing to me. It has to be consistent, and it has to foster my belief, regardless of how much I'm suspending disbelief around speculative elements or crazy sci-fi shit, or like, how did we end up back in Egypt? I thought we were like just in space. I don't understand how travel works in this movie. But like in that movie, who cares? Like we're very much like, it's pretty obvious that that's not what you're supposed to care about. And if you haven't figured out that love is the fifth element yet, you're about to. Don't worry about how we got to Egypt. And it works in this movie. A good example of where it totally doesn't work is the travel in Game of Thrones. Like, that was like, it used to be part of the story, how hard it was to travel, and it became inconvenient, so they just started hopping around. But that was not consistent with the way the story had been told to that point, and to me it robbed it of a crucial element. So I think the fifth element actually does a really good job of that balance, but I don't think it's like a line you can cross. I think it's far more like related to a balancing act, like trying not to tip too far one way or the other. And I know you could say there's a single grain of rice that tips the scale or whatever. There probably is that for everybody subjectively. But I think it is all about how much fun you're having at the end of the day. And I think a lot of the fun we can have in movies comes from that balance.
Love that. Great answer.
Jeremy or Sienna? Jeremy, you got something?
Well, you know, I feel like, and I'm gonna kind of push back against Clay while also kind of agreeing with him, is like a lot of people like to have this discussion of style versus substance, and I feel like the thing they don't usually get is that style is also a form of substance. It's part of the art form, and you can push that to its peak and to its limits, just like anything else. And like, the only thing that I would say it crosses a line for me is when, and this is for really any element of a story, is that when you start like sacrificing things that are integral to the story to make this stylistic choice work, or this character decision happen, or really anything else. But like, I just really don't feel like style is like something divorced from the story or the elements that make it up. It's just another one of those, you know?
I agree with that. I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's why I love Speed Racer so much.
Yeah. I hear both of you, and I agree with parts of what both of you said. I think. Wait, I have a follow-up question though. Okay, so what's the opposite of substance then? Like, what are we doing this with?
So I suppose because substance would be like the intended or sometimes unintended.
Because if you're like
or purpose of a
100%
story.
style, that's like a music video, kind of, right? Well,
Yeah.
sometimes music videos have stories, but like substance is like you're getting like a lesson. Too
It's
much.
like a monologue in a play. It's like, oh,
Yeah, the substance, I suppose, would be whatever the point is. So if it doesn't help the substance,
like a morality tale.
yeah,
could be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I accept this. Yeah, I think I would say, for me personally, I am much more like I love visual elements. Obviously, film is a visual medium. It's incredibly important. Otherwise, you would be a radio show. So that style is very important to me. And I feel like style can be so subtle though. Like it doesn't need to be Speed Racer though, you know, great example. But the substance, the like, how does a film make me feel at the end of it? I don't necessarily want a lesson. Like I don't want somebody to be like, and here's the way it happened, and this is the end. Or here's how you should feel. I don't want that, but that's the whole point of going to see a movie, is that you're like, oh, you're going on this journey with these characters, and how do you feel about them? And I think there's been such a interesting like offshoot in the last 10 years of the unlikable protagonist, which is very confusing also. Chalk it up to all the things millennials need to be confused about. But like, how are we supposed to get involved with a character that I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend time with you? And honestly, like I haven't watched a lot of those. Like I got in at the beginning. Like I watched Breaking Bad. Like I did some of the like, what was her name? Jessica Jones, maybe?
Oh, yeah, Jessica Jones, yep.
Yeah, like I was like, cool. But then after a while, like there's so many. So everybody all of a sudden is like this anti-hero and the bad, like where you're kind of like, and it got to the point where I'm like, that there's not any redeeming qualities to this person. Like I just don't like them. So no, I don't want to watch the next episode because I don't care. I have to care about the people on screen. And I think that is substance more than style, but the more stylish the substance.
I agree with that, Sienna. I think that's a really good way of saying it too, because it's through your characters, through the characters of a good story, that you as a viewer or reader or whatever come to realize things about the story on your own. And I think that's the best experience. I think that's what, at least me as a creator, I don't know about you guys, but if I will only feel like I really accomplished my mission with a story if I can get everybody to get my message on their own without ever having to explicitly say it. Like as soon as I hear a message explicitly said, it turns me off from a movie or a book like quite a bit. We talked about one the other day. I can't remember which it was, but there was a point in the movie where they literally said the point of the movie, and it was like, huh?
It was Frankenstein.
Yeah, I was a bit bummed out about that. They literally have a part where he yells at Victor Frankenstein, "You are the monster," and it's like, bro, we already know. We already know that. We don't need to be told that. You know, I don't want to be told that. I want to figure it out on my own. And I think that's hopefully that ties into what you were saying. I think it does. But that's kind of part of that experience of caring for the characters, going along for the ride to the extent that you get absorbed by the story. But hopefully the story is strong enough to give you the clues you need along the way to make those realizations for yourself without it having to go, "You are the monster." You know?
I'm starting, I think, Jeremy, you've helped me a lot on like situating further critique in my mind of I'm going to use one of my favorite, my boy Aristotle, big Aristotle fan.
Shout out.
I love, he has a thing called the golden mean, which people who know philosophy are like, duh, Travis, but hey, not everyone knows. The golden mean, which is like vice and virtue are part of the same thing that you're trying to do. And the vice is like always going towards one way of like an excess, I think, usually, or a detriment. And then the virtue is, or too much of it is also a vice. So there's two vices in the middle, like this perfect balance that kind of moves along a little slider. That's your virtue. And I think, to me, like style and substance are that. Like you need them both, and your slider is going to move different ways depending on the project. And maybe your middle isn't actually a middle; it's more towards one. But like excessive style is when, I think, to Jeremy's point, I think what I heard from you is like excessive style is when the style is like taking precedence and like burying the substance beneath. Like, I just need to show everything as loud as I can and you're not even going to know what the story is. And I've seen movies like that where I was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
You mean him?
Yeah. And then Substance is like, I think you hit the nail on the head, Sienna, of like these very overt morality tales that are like, did you get it? That this guy was bad.
I have another thought on that also. An interesting other or not perspective, but element of this conversation is like, what was the creator's intention? Because sometimes they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna make explosions for the next 90 minutes. You're welcome.
Right. Michael Bay was not lying about what he was doing. And if you went to a Transformer movie and you were mad that there wasn't deep character development, that's on you.
It is a little
That's
bit.
on you.
It's
Like,
a little
you
bit
saw the preview.
Yeah.
No, I love that idea, Travis, too, of it's more like Fox in the Forest rules than just like 1 through 10 must hit 5 in the middle. Because, like you say, there are movies that are certainly served by a more stylistic approach and a less character-driven even approach. And there are movies where the setting is more the character than anything. And there's definitely ones, too, that like the setting doesn't really matter and the characters are all that matter, like a Noah Buxbaum movie or whatever, where it's like two people in a hard relationship. I think I said his name wrong just now. Baumbach, sorry. Yes. What a stupid plug. Noah, love you, dog. Keep doing it. I love your movies. That is actually the point I'm trying to make. But yeah, I think that is a way better judgment of it too.
And we get a lot of that in like plays turned into movies, where it's an interesting one because I find that to be quite tricky, and I don't think people do it well very often because it's a different medium, which it doesn't feel like it necessarily would be. You've got people saying words to each other in a specific place in a specific time, but there is something so different about a stage setting in live audience, live performers, live audience. But again, that like when you bring those kind of that too much substance, where it's like on the stage, people talk like not real life. You know, it's like there's a presentational aspect to it, and it's not quite real. Whereas film is trying to mimic as closely as possible some of the time, you know, especially with these kind of two, you know, what do they call them? Kitchen sink dramas, where it's two people in a room talking for the most part of the movie. Those are great, but sometimes it starts to feel like too much substance, and you're kind of like, where, like, okay, I got it. Like I watched talk for a long time now. Sometimes it's interesting, and sometimes it's not.
That's like, I love the movie Fences, but there's a level to where like it felt stilted in some parts because it felt like, okay, this was a set change in the play, and now you're like forcing these characters to like walk around their house in a circle to like, show more kinetic energy, and I think you're right, Sienna, it's a hard thing. One movie that pulls it off, to just throw out a suggestion, is Journey's End. It's a World War I.
That's a great, World War I. It's a great
World
movie.
War
Fantastic.
I movie that adapted from a stage play. That's just like, it's a hard hitter.
Okay.
It's so good. That's the one about the doomed brigade, right? In the trench. Yeah.
Yep, in the trench.
It's awesome. 'Cause it's literally just like a brigade that they have their orders to hold, and they know like, oh, we lose. And they just have to stay. They don't have a choice. And it's like their last day. It all takes place in their last like 2 or 3 days. It's a great movie.
But I think it goes.
It's
like,
not fun.
No. Wouldn't be. But,
if you enjoy The
it's-
Fifth Element, it's very different than that. Sorry, Jeremy. Go ahead.
It would be very different from that, I assume. But like all of this is just it just feels like it's all orbiting one of my main philosophies, wherein like it's hard to call any particular thing a strength or a weakness when it comes to, well, really anything, but in this case storytelling, because like the style, the substance, the plot, the characters, all of those things they can be, if done, if depending on how you do them, they can help or hurt you depending on what you're doing with them. So like, not all skills are universally beneficial. So if you're, so like trying to do something that is all style, no substance, it's like saying like, yep, I can use this hammer for literally everything I ever need to do. Don't have car keys? Don't worry. I've got this hammer. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Are we asking the question, what is good and what is bad?
I mean, I asked.
Aren't we always?
But
No. Is it like, does it exist? Does good and bad exist, Jeremy?
Oh man!
Oh shit! The time has actually come. We literally have a guest
good
asking
and bad
this.
exist.
I
Well, that
actually
depends.
asked it.
That depends.
Yeah, for
Does
some
death
background,
of the author exist?
Before Jeremy answers, for some background, this is like a common disagreement between Jeremy and I. Of like, I am a very objective person. Like, I think there is like true good and true beauty and true yeah. Anyway, Jeremy.
Okay, wait, I do want to hear you saying Jeremy, but that's an interesting. I realize what I just said now because I was thinking about it as in like my opinion of good and bad, like for someone's opinion of what is good and what is bad. But also like pure good, pure evil. I don't believe in perfection, so I don't think. Maybe that's not exactly what was on my mind. But Jeremy, tell us what you think.
It's too bad, Sienna. You've done this. You've done it.
Yeah, you did this. This genie is fully out of the bottle now. But yes. So,
objectively out of the bottle, you might say.
Would I?
You might.
Let's see.
Maybe. I don't know. How do you... Anyway, but I suppose the answer of whether something can be good or bad personally is obviously everything's personal. Art is even when it's done by committee for profit, it's subjective, everything. So love is love wherever it shows up, and if you happen to love, say, The Fifth Element, then hey, that's right, that's good. Now when it comes to objective things, which is I guess where me and Travis tend to I tend to grind his gears somewhat, and that's mostly because I am often winking flirtatiously at moral relativism, and but it's, because I am such a true believer in death of the author, wherein like the author's intent doesn't matter, and you create meaning out of what you're consuming by consuming it, and you being your own person with your own struggles, experiences, emotions, whatever that the author may or may not have. You are creating the meaning behind what you are consuming way more than the author just typing out a book or a screenplay or anything else, because you are the one who is creating what matters and saying whether it matters or not.
But if the book doesn't exist with a point from the author, how am I ever going to be able to create my own meaning around anything?
My point exactly, Sienna. I think the creator has to have a purpose and a reason for making the thing, or else the thing will never exist. And yes, we do. And this is where, again, my boy Aristotle, big fan. Plato was all about like there's something. Shout out. Plato was all about the forms that like the objective truth exists outside of us, and we can strive for it, but we can never know it. And Aristotle came along and was like, no, like the only way we know the world is through experience, like experientially through our senses is the only way we can actually gather data to find out what the forms are. And so I think you're right, Sienna. It's kind of, well, maybe you're not agreeing with me, but I think it is a both and of like the creator makes the form of the thing, but the only way that that thing is actually known is through the individual experience. And that might vary person to person, but that thing is only in existence on an objective level of like trying to put forth this idea of the authors. And one more thing, Clay. I think, I might have lost it.
No.
I'll come back.
No.
Come back to me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you lose it. I was trying to do the opposite by being
That's all right.
a good boy over here.
You're being so good.
When asked about how he chooses stories to publish in his various publications that he collaborates with, Stephen Graham Jones says, I look for one thing, and that is if the author cares about this story, and I can feel it in my blood when they do. And I think you cannot get that care on the page if you don't fucking care about the story. I think that is the heart and soul of every story. So, like, I don't necessarily think we should judge or try to put things in categories based on, like, intention as it appears on the page, but you should put a lot of credence in the dedication to an intention, and that intention being to tell a story with a meaning, with a purpose, with a message. And it doesn't have to be a message, with a theme, I would rather say, than a message. But theme is important. Theme is what your movie's about. Another person I would consider a mentor and a friend is Arlie Sorg. He's been on the show a couple times, but he has this philosophy that you should be able to state your theme in one sentence. And it has been an extremely helpful exercise to look at all my stories, because if you can't do that, you might not actually know what it's about. That's also, like, he believes there's kind of one theme. And I think this speaks to the objectivism, Travis, right? Like, there's always going to be sub themes. There's always going to be 5 or 6 themes in a good story. But, like, he believes there's ultimately one, like, purpose to every story that it's ultimately about. Favorite example is, like, we had a 3-hour conversation about Godzilla -1. And the theme we came up with together for that movie is culture is worth living for, right? And everything else in that movie kind of builds to that. There's other sub themes, but I think so in that way there's like an objectivism to that that I subscribe to. But as you know, I'm a believer in pretty much like everything's subjective at some level. But I agree in objective thresholds. I don't need to do that rant again. You could go watch other episodes for that.
It's a very good discussion. I remembered my one thing, and then I'll shut up. But because I hope this isn't gonna lead into like everybody yelling at me.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah, we'll wait and see.
I think promises.
I've kind of come around to this whole thing of like, I think if we believe too heavily in the death of the author and too heavily in the fact that like, and I do think there exists a level to where our experience does actually paint the thing we're consuming. Like we have to bring our own selves to the story. But I think if we put too much merit in that, what happens is we dismiss things far too readily and easily, and we never call ourselves to question. And that's where I've kind of started to turn around, because I've been reading a lot of the classics. I'm not intending to be pretentious, but just because they're classics, I want to read them. And I know that's a broad term, but sometimes I've like run into ones where I'm like, I didn't really like that. And instead of trying to like find the reason I didn't, I've just been like, that probably is a me problem. Like I need to.
Yeah, like why is it a classic?
Why is it a classic? What am I not getting?
To our point of the not nostalgia back in the whatever century you're reading in is, like it meant different things to different people back then because they lived very different lives than you or I. But so I wouldn't say that would always be a you problem. I think very much not. And that's the subjective part of it. And one of the things that what I was thinking of when I said, is there good or bad? One of the conversations that I have quite regularly, especially with filmmakers, is the idea of a critic. and reviews and that type of thing. And if someone says this film is good, 5 stars, does not mean I'm going to like it. And that is something that I think everyone should hold dear. And especially now, because we are living in this day and age of second or third or fourth or fifth remove that we're getting information from who. Do I check all of my sources? Of course not. Like, I get most of my news through Instagram. But like, to that point of like, do I like it or not? I think what scares me a lot of the time is that the generation that's growing up right now is not learning critical thinking. And I think that's a huge part of that subjectiveness, is even asking themselves that question that you asked yourself, Travis. Is it me or is it the book? Is this a fact or is this an opinion? 5 stars sounds great. That's someone's opinion. That's one person's opinion, actually. And yes, like some people, you know, especially like critics who have been critics for a long time, one can get to know a critic for their taste. But just because 25 people gave it a 1 star does not mean that I still am like, I fucking love this shit or whatever reason. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of thing that bugs me a lot, is that people are like, oh, you know, oh, it's got a 5 stars on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm like, from who?
Yeah, so what?
Gave them 5 stars or 0 stars or 10 stars or whatever it is. And people just don't know. They're like, oh no, but it's got a bad rating, so it's probably bad. Like, you know what has a really high score on Rotten Tomatoes is The Room.
People love it.
The Room is so good, Sienna. No,
the irony. Right. The irony.
Go on, Clay.
Ratings are ratings. I want to sort of tie that in with the death of the author thing too, because I think it is important to remember, and especially in this era that you're talking about, Sienna, right now, where like if you're getting that from a third or fourth removed source, and don't even get me started on how AI is going to start telling us what's true about everything, and that will be terrible. They're going to kill me for sure. Come at me, AI.
They're already coming for you.
I ain't going to live in your world. All right, do it. Do what you got to do.
You're in their
I understand.
world right now.
I know. I'm doing it right now. I'm using the damn internet. What are you going to do? I think the death of the author thing is as much for the authors themselves as it is for any audience. Like, you need to know that as an author. Once you do release it into the world, there is certainly a level of it, a very high level, like 80, 85%, that no longer belongs to you. It still belongs to you on some level, but when you put it out into the world as something to be consumed, something to be enjoyed, hopefully, you're opening yourself to that. And the whole world is going to judge you these days, as will the AI and everything else. And so you have to understand that as a creator, like, and the other side of that is you belong to it at that point. Anything you put out into the world that you put that much effort into and invested money in, like in a professional capacity, created something to sell, you are saying this is part of who you are. You belong to it. Whatever message people get from it, whatever message you intended, both of those things are going to happen. That's defining you as a human on the internet, which is now the hive mind consciousness of Earth. And so, like, make sure you believe in what you're doing. Make sure you believe in what you're putting out there. And you basically have to believe in it to take it to an actual professional level. It's really hard to do. And I think that's what's awesome about pretty much literally anything we've ever talked about on this show, or anyone we've ever talked to, is doing that. And it makes it all really special. So that's where I get into the objective thresholds, because it's like, there is a level where it's like, this is professional, this is not. And I'm not shitting on non-professional people. Do your stuff, learn your things, do everything. I've done so much unprofessional stuff. Put that in the world too. It's okay. Like, just make sure you're doing your homework and being respectful to people in general, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. And I think that's all, like, great to take away. Like, sure, there's death of the author and whatever, but like equally important to me is death of the critic, because like ultimately what you take away from a story is what matters, and you are going to take away, as far as I'm concerned, the great things. Well, whatever goodness of the story is coming from the upfront work that the author has put in. Like, when you put in the work and you take care, like, yeah, either more people are going to connect with it, or the people that do connect with it are going to like connect very hard with what you're putting down. And that's why like it's like when I am paying attention to what like critics are saying about something that I'm considering watching, reading, whatever, I prefer to be really familiar with that critic's opinions and stuff, so that I know where their opinions like align with and differ from my own tastes, because that's really important. You can't just listen to somebody say like, yeah, this is terrible, and then just take their word for it. No.
Which is another interesting thing, is what you just said, is, and what I very much do myself also, is you're like, I want to read things or reviews from critics who have the same taste that I do, which is another editing where again, my Instagram feed, I don't go to news apps anymore, because I'm like, I have very carefully curated that algorithm to give me what I want. And I get news, like I do get current events, but it's from a very specific lens and perspective that I can digest in a way that's healthy for me. And I also try to stay very aware that I'm doing that on purpose. And there are other perspectives and other things and other happening around me that I'm not getting, that I'm filtering out, that other people, that's their reality. Not to get too deep into it in that regard, but on your point to the death of the critic, I think what Rachel and I use when we're talking about movies or stories or that type of thing is saying, if you didn't like it, that wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that it's bad. Somebody else may think it's great. It wasn't for me. No. But it could be something that was for me because it spoke to me. Like something in that story, in that visual, in that whatever it was for me. And I resonated with it and I got something out of it. And if not a judgment, it just,
yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
I mean, The Fifth Element's a great example of that. This is a bona fide classic, you know? I mean, it showed up in like a Rick and Morty episode as like Jerry's greatest accomplishment or whatever. He got to act in The Fifth Element in an alternate timeline when he was a famous actor. But there's so many people who love this movie, and then I can still have that like visceral reaction of like, why am I watching this?
I think the last thing I kind of want to say about this, and sorry, Jeremy, do you have something? Because I'm going to turn mine into a question, the pretentious question of the week.
Hell yeah.
Well, the only thing I was going to say about that is like, yeah, it's like how I hate the substance and nobody else does.
Oh, a lot of people hate that. I have lots of feelings about the substance.
You're like,
I have lots of feelings about them too.
Who's this nobody? Who is this nobody, and where are they?
Okay, nobody else on the show.
Oh, I didn't.
I guess
I wasn't a huge fan, so I don't know where you're talking about for that, man.
I think I was
I was the only one who hated it.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Can we do a recap and we'll do the substance next time?
Yeah,
we already
Part
did
two.
the substance.
Oh, no.
Part 2.
I'm
Well, I have feelings. No, just kidding.
I think the last thing I'll say on the objectivity, subjectivity, good, bad, the myriad of subjects we've covered with this topic is, and I'll turn it into a question, is that I've kind of also started to think or come to this belief that art is treated outside of like exercise in a sense. So there's a classical education principle where gymnastic and music are actually like very closely tied together. Gymnastic in the classic sense of like embodiment of a thing. And I've found that to be sort of true in my own life. Of I don't know if I could have read the books I'm reading right now like 3 years ago because I wasn't ready for them in a sense. And it does seem to me like there's a build up to a comprehension level, and that has to be on sort of an objective level, in my opinion. My question is going to be, do y'all agree or have thoughts on this? Because like, I think it's a big problem right now with a lot of people, specifically men. They've actually done like research projects on men fall into this trap more often where they're like, I want to read, but I don't know what to read. And all these like forums are telling me that Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky is the greatest book ever. So I'm just going to go read the Brothers K.
Yeah, just jump right in there.
And then they're
I
like,
love reading.
Exactly. They try it, and then they're like, reading sucks. I'm bored.
Absolutely.
It's like, because you're not ready for Dostoevsky. You have to start somewhere else and like build up to Dostoevsky. And so, yeah, I just love to get y'all's thoughts on that. That's the pretentious question of the week, because I do think there's an element in my own life where I've seen like, I didn't jump to the Brothers K. I read it in college. I don't remember it. I went back and I'm like, I started, I don't remember where, but then I built up to like Pride and Prejudice. Great book. Now I'm at the Count of Monte Cristo. I think I'm going to do Moby Dick next because I think I'm ready to read Herman Melville. And then I'll do the Brothers K. So I don't know. What do y'all think? Do you disagree with me? Is there multiple opinions on that?
You should go first, Sienna, if you have thoughts. Otherwise, I can.
I'm still thinking. I'll let you go.
Okay. I totally agree with that. I think it's a mistake to read a lot of the books we read in high school. And not to say that high school kids can't read to that level. They certainly can. But they have to be in classes that start to cultivate that early. And I feel like at least the way I went to school, and I know a lot of like, I think a lot of people go to school this way. You go from like reading pretty basic stuff to jumping into like Shakespeare. Like in middle school, they're keeping it real basic for you. You're reading like Hatchet, you know, like you're reading something real easy to read. And then when you hop into freshman, sophomore year, they start throwing Shakespeare at you and you're like, the fuck am I reading? They're like, this is about teenagers. It's like, it doesn't feel like it's about teenagers. It feels like it's about 10,000-year-old vampires. I don't know what's going on, except they're not vampires. So it's not even that fun. I'm talking about Romeo and Juliet. I think it's a mistake to thrust like people into that who aren't signing up for it. It's kind of what we've been talking about the whole time, but when you go into a movie and you know what kind of movies you like, you've sort of like cultivated your own flavor of art you prefer to consume. You go in with expectations, and you're hoping that this movie meets those expectations to some degree, right? In whatever way it does. Nobody can expect something that they can't even comprehend how not ready for some of that stuff that they are. And I think some people do connect with it like right away, but I think that is a rare breed. I certainly didn't, and I love a lot of like classic stories now. A lot of the stuff I was supposed to read back in the day, I now enjoy, but I hated it when I first read it. And it just makes a complete difference when you spend a lot of time in a craft, spend a lot of time reading, spend a lot of time thinking intentionally, you know, like that shapes who you are, and it totally changes the kind of reader you are the more you do it.
Gosh, my mind just went everywhere.
That's my bad.
No, it's great. It's very complex though, because like I agree with you. I agree with you both. Yet at like what point and who is deciding this kind of like structure, for lack of a better word? Who says you should read this first before you read this? Maybe it's a good thing. You know, again, we have lots of great suggestions out there, and I very much believe that like giving Oh man, again, so many thoughts. Okay, one at a time, Sienna.
You got this. You got
There's
this.
so many like self-led learning is such a not quite a new concept. I think it's becoming more popular, especially in children. Well, specifically in children, I should say. Because they get to decide what they're interested in. And oh, am I interested in reading this book that's more complex? Am I interested in putting together this box or taking it apart or whatever? And so that is really important because, as I don't know where you all went to school, but from the wonderful world of the standardized school system we have here in the United States, a lot of kids struggle a lot. And they, especially now, we're learning so much more about how the brain works in the last even like 5 to 10 years in terms of the way how people learn. And that didn't exist. It still is really not very supported. And so the idea is like, if you don't know how to add these numbers or say these words in the right order, you're dumb and you're not going to be good at this. And so, okay, this is getting slightly off topic or very off topic, but so I agree. I think, and there are topics and subject matters that are obviously can be very damaging if you give it to people, you know, too early in their life or when they're not ready for it or whatever. And again, that's something that's very subjective also. So I don't know if there's an objective or a subjective way to say you should read, should, which is a word I try not to use, but like, this is the order that it should be done in because you'll get more out of it if you do. And at the same time, I totally agree with both of you that it's as a person who has had more experiences, who's read more stories, who has had her mind widened by many, many different things, I appreciate different stories or the same story at different parts of my life. And I get more or different things out of it than I did previously.
I love that. And I think for movies too, it's like such a, I don't know, I've just found it with movies too, where I've had friends who like all their life they've watched, and I'm not even, this isn't like a judgment on them at all, but like all their life they've watched Michael Bay and Fast and Furious and, sorry about my dog in the background, Fast and Furious and all this stuff. And then they're like, they sit down with me and they're like, let's watch a movie you like. And I'm like, okay. And we watch No Country for Old Men, and they're like, this is so boring. And I'm like, yeah, you would find it boring. like that's, you're not, you know, I think in like 5 years, if you sat down with me every night, maybe you wouldn't, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But Jeremy, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Clay also had his hand up.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, like, to your point specifically, everybody keeps talking, so I keep adding more points of things to address. But to your point specifically, Travis, it's like whenever you are when you are just starting to get into something, like into a new hobby, into like reading, movies, whatever, like you have to start small to see if you even want to get into the deeper stuff. Like, you can't just pick up your first book and it's Dune or Lord of the Rings or something.
Why not?
Because you'll throw those books into a wood chipper.
Maybe.
And me, I would still throw Lord of the Rings into a wood chipper. Those books are basically unreadable. And I've been very open about that.
Please.
But
that's an opinion.
Totally
is an
opinion. One
and
star.
It's mine. 1 star, would not recommend.
Yes.
And
fair.
you know, that's just me. I'm just that guy. And like, that's one of those things why, like, I agree with Clay on his point of books, these crazy things to read being assigned to teenagers. Like, I was assigned to read A Tale of Two Cities in high school. And much like every other book that I was ever assigned in school, I never even got seriously close to finishing that book.
Yeah.
Like, not once ever. And sure, part of that is being a child with who hadn't yet been diagnosed with hella ADHD, but like, I think there was no cultivation of that love of story and structure and no like way. There was no frame of reference to even understand the things that were being put in front of me. And yeah, it's all just a thing that goes to show that things do very much hit differently at different times in your life. Like, I could go back and read all those things that I was assigned to read in high school and probably enjoy them now. But that's just a difference. Like for example, if I had watched Ted Lasso as a younger person than when I came across it, or even when it came out, like, it wouldn't now be sitting as one of my favorite shows ever, and it certainly wouldn't earn the distinction as one of the few pieces of media that has ever made me cry while watching it. It's timing is very important. You got to be ready for stuff.
Or do you?
I mean,
you kind of Ted Lasso because you weren't ready for it, and it made you feel things that you had never felt before.
Like, if I had watched it then and watched it later, I would have enjoyed it then. But
sounding a little bit objective
watching it
right now,
later, it makes it my favorite.
Clay, I wasn't gonna say it, but I'm still not gonna say it. That was definitely my pretentious. Clay, though, you had your hand up. I'm so sorry.
I did, because it actually speaks to both Sienna and Jeremy's points. I agree with you, Sienna. There is no, like, this is the right thing to read first.
No,
that's like crazy talk. What I was trying to speak to is, and this is not just a defense for myself, I think it's important to understand the distinction. I certainly don't agree that I don't think it's like curriculumable in the way that we try to do it in public schools right now. Is bananas. It's ridiculous. But like, because what I think is important to cultivate is the love of reading, the love of exploring story, and the love of introspectively like applying story to yourself. And if you can do those things, then you're ready to read fucking anything. Like, but you have to learn how to do that first. And I think that is, like you were saying, something that the public school system does not do well in its current state. Especially like with Common Core and everything, like that. I mean, I was a teacher, so I literally saw the checklist, but I had to like teach certain books as an English teacher. And it was like, dude, come on. Like, I don't have any control over what these kids did 1st through 5th grade. Now they're coming into 6th grade and it's like, here's your job. Teach them Shakespeare. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, Jesus.
And all of a sudden it got to be so much death and so much. There's like a lot of rape in books and we read in high school, like a lot of abuse and you're like,
crazy.
Why are you doing this? And at the same time, this is something very quick tangent. Why are we okay to put that amount of violence into the content we are giving our children? Teenagers, but still children, yet in this country specifically, and probably many others as well, but that the conversation around sex and sexuality, oh no, can't do that. Or there's like one book that you're allowed to read and it's very coded and strange, but talking about that and how it affects personal lives, like where does that fit into education? It doesn't. It's actually very much taboo because you can't talk about your personal sex life when you're talking about literature in high school English lit. Like, where else are these kids getting information? The internet. It's a terrifying place.
I was just having a conversation to Clayton's point about like curriculum and what a teacher's role is with a fellow teacher of mine. And we talked about, like, I think we should compare them more to like tradesman and apprentice. And that's what the love is like
The
Like
students?
teachers are the tradesmen, and like the students are apprentices, and we're trying to like bring them into like the love of the thing that we love.
Yeah.
And teach them by like leading them to, like, you can't take a kid. Sorry about my dogs. You can't like take an apprentice and be like, okay, I'm a plumber. You're gonna learn how to be a plumber. So yeah, just like plumb this whole house. Like, just do it. Like, that doesn't work. You have to like show them, okay, this is a pipe. Like, you have to learn what a pipe is first before you can put 50,000 of them into this mansion or whatever. And to end my pretentious question of the week, because I know we're coming up on time, this really is unrelated to a lot of what we're doing, but Sienna, I think you gave me a window to share it on this because it's just such a good quote. This guy named George Gopin wrote this, and I think y'all will appreciate based on our conversation we've had. Many of us were taught that one can never use however or nevertheless as the first word in a sentence. Nevertheless, we can all imagine without too much difficulty a sentence beginning with one of these words and still making perfect sense. Sense, however, always points backwards towards that which it is qualifying. There must always be something in the back of it in the sentence in which they appear. However, any reader of English will recognize that a sentence starting with however will be qualifying the whole sentence that immediately preceded it. In English, this rule is useless. And I think to kind of play devil's advocate against myself, I think there is a level to where it's like you have to learn the craft to be an expert of it, and then you can break the rules because like that's going to tell the story you want to tell. And I know we ran out of time, but I'm sure, Sienna, you see some movies that like break the rules, but beautifully.
All the best ones do.
That's true. That's true. Sienna, what are a couple of your favorite movies? I'm not going to ask you to rank them in like a top 5. So just throw out a couple that pop in your head first.
You know what? Whenever anybody asks me this question, I always edit it. Like, what's your favorite movie? I always say top 3, no particular order, or top 5, no particular order. Because I'm like, and because then the follow-up question is, what's the one that just popped into your head right now? No editing.
Go, 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 go.
Do it. So my answer to this, to the top 3, no particular order, is Arrival.
Love
I
it.
think one of the most stunning, beautiful, poetic, poignant, amazing movies of all time. The performances, the script, the world, the science fiction of it all. Oh, the language I can go on about that movie.
Big fan.
It's a great movie.
It's a great film. The King's Speech.
2 for 2 in my book.
Stunning movie. Stacked cast from top to bottom. All of these most amazing British actors, and it's about someone who has a disability and overcomes it. And another thing that I love, I should rephrase that, not overcoming a disability, who has a perceived flaw, especially at the time. And we have to dig into therapy. He goes to therapy.
Early portrayal of it too, like in that positive light.
Yeah. And the performances are incredible. The cinematography is gorgeous. I love that they picked this story and told it with such.
There are a select few quotes that like jump into my mind randomly all the time, and one of them is because I have a voice, like all the time. I just still be like walking down the street and I hear Colin Firth and I'm like, I do have a voice.
Helena Bonham Carter just as the queen, like, delightful.
She's so good.
She's so good. Spirited Away. I can watch that movie 500 million thousand squillion times. I think it's every frame is a work of art. I love that Miyazaki centers young girls as his protagonists almost all the time because they're so powerful and chaotic and they feel so much, all of them. Everything is so big and important, but it's also so like small and insignificant. And they're always in these big, not necessarily scary, these big worlds that they have to fearlessly conquer and make friends and go on adventures. And I love Spirited Away. I think it's just so good. So beautiful.
Love it.
Hell yeah. You know what else is good and beautiful? You, Sienna. Thank you so much for being on our podcast. You brought an awesome energy, brought some really incredible insight, and we could not appreciate you more. Can you tell? Sorry.
Thanks, friend.
Hell yeah. So stoked you came on the show. I hope you will come back. We would love to have you again. We've already done both the movies you brought up, so we'll have to think of something else. But we'll talk. We'll talk.
I'll do some mulling.
Yeah, Mole.
We haven't done Spirited Away, and it's definitely genre.
We have not. That would be a fun one. Sienna, where can people find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they watch your awesome films? And do you have anything else you want to leave us with tonight?
Such great questions. The best place is definitely our website. So �mergencefilms.us. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We have a YouTube channel. You can see our short films on our YouTube. We have 2 vertical series that we're working on, which are super fun. One is kind of like a sci-fi light, like future time travel sort of vibe. And then I'm on Instagram also, the Sienna Monster. If you care about my political rantings and the odd advertisement about my movies. We have 2 feature films that are streaming on Amazon and Apple TV and Tubi, if you don't mind ads, but you should watch them with no ads. One is called Ingress, which is a sci-fi drama that's about a woman who can move through alternate realities of her own life. The second one is called Inheritance, which is a family drama about 2 estranged sisters who are brought back together when their father passes away, and they have to divide not only the physical inheritance, but the emotional inheritance as well from their past. We have 2 documentaries that are about to be released next year. You can check it all out on the website. We got a lot of stuff going on. It's really fun. Last thing I will plug, if you are based in Washington State and you are a female identifying or gender expansive filmmaker who does not have a feature credit, who is early career, so we say, who does not have a feature credit as a writer, director, or producer, we are running what we call the Emerging Filmmakers Program. We're right at the end of the first year. We are just opened applications for our second year. We're calling it a foundational incubator into independent filmmaking. So Rachel, my business partner Rachel, and I it's a year-long program, and we guide teams of filmmakers. So as writer, director, and producer, apply as a team, and we provide foundational education, hands-on skills training. We assign you an industry mentor, and we help you creatively develop and produce a short film, and we give you a cash grant of $10,000 to do so. This is something that I love, kind of brings everything I love about this industry and brings it into one. So please check out our website, share it with somebody you know if you think that would be a good fit for them. And yeah, just come make art with us. We're in this phase of just doing everything. We're like, let's just do it right now. So we're doing a lot. Come check us out.
It's so fucking cool what you do, Sienna. Go check it out. Support that journey every way that you can as lovers of film, as lovers of literature, and hopefully still lovers of fermented fiction after tonight's episode. I suppose you never know.
Sorry if I ruined it for everybody.
It would not be you, Sienna. It would certainly not be you.
Yeah, you flipping crushed it.
It'd be me.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Sienna, so much for gracing our show with your presence. Thank you, Jeremy and Travis, for starting this episode without me because I am a moron. And thank you, viewers, for putting up with my bullshit yet again for another week. We'll see you next week. We actually have Robert O'Toney coming on Saturday. I lied to you on Instagram and told you it was yesterday. It is Saturday. Come join us for that. We're going to be talking about The Thing from Another World.
Ooh.
The original The Thing. So yeah, come check it out. We'll see you there. Thanks for being here. Goodbye.